It kept raining. Like an omen, it descended upon Flagstaff, soaking the broken pavement, distorting the wood panels on Cody's rotting porch, and filling the nooks and crannies of the house he previously referred to as a temporary reset. However, nothing had been reset. The man who now roamed his rented living room like a ghost had previously considered himself the ruler of a progressive polygamous kingdom. He flinched with every sound. A fresh round of panic was set off by every creak, every ping from his phone, and every shadow against the blinds. It had been 3 days since he had left the house. Robyn stopped, trying to comfort him. Now she was aware. Nothing remained to be saved, no kind words to soften the sharp edges of fear and shame. She sat at the kitchen table with unopened mail all around her, including bills, legal threats, and a few stamped envelopes from children she had not spoken to in months. The return address was missing from one envelope. There was a picture inside. Cody. He was standing on his own porch. Someone had drawn a crosshair on his chest in red marker. Robyn Brown's palms were slippery with perspiration, despite the freezing courtroom in Salt Lake City. Hey, hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel TLC Flicks. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Her legal team had told her to seem soft, repentant, and unthreatening. As if wearing beige and putting a little lipstick would undo 10 years of manipulation. Michael D. sat on the opposite side, with a file box marked the Robyn files and legal counsel at her sides. Her eyes were fiery, yet her face was serene. They read the charges out loud. Rihanna, Aurora, and Dayton's unpaid child support. Financial records linked to Brown Family Entertainment, LLC that are fraudulent. Theft of assets that were jointly owned after a divorce. The judge never gave Robyn a glance. Every fact was given a new burial, and the whole space seemed to be a cemetery of truth. Janelle had provided bank statements that were signed. Christine's old text messages were attached. Meri, who had been mute and emotionally distant for years, had consented to her name being used in an affidavit detailing the financial gatekeeping and internal coercion that Cody and Robyn had participated in. Robyn started to say something to argue that Cody had always handled the money and that she had also been duped. But her bones told her that her words would be in vain. Her silence was only broken by the sound of Cody's absence. In Mauve, the chapel was magnificent, easy, distant, in contrast to the opulence that formerly characterized the Brown weddings of the past. Rihanna's dress shimmered with subtle elegance. In addition to becoming her fiancé, Tyler served as a buffer between the tragedy of her early years and the life she planned to build. There were a few encouraging guests along the aisle, but none of them were blood relatives. Until he came. Cody, red-eyed and sweaty, he rushed through the door in a crumpled suit, as if he had ran toward or away from something. "You cannot accomplish this without knowing who you are," he yelled, his hands shaking. "You were made by this family." Rihanna slowly turned to face him, her mouth trembling. However, she had a steely voice. "As soon as we stopped filming, you left me." She didn't require Tyler's protective hand on her back, while the rest of us went hungry, sobbed ourselves to sleep, and watched you disappear whenever things got tough. You spent years preaching about love and unity. She took a step forward. "You are not my dad. My trauma is you." Then it fell. One brass bullet case dropped from the balcony above, tumbling like a feather in the air, and then hitting the marble floor with a metallic clink that made my stomach turn. No firearm. There isn't a shooter in sight. Only a message. Being a part of the Brown legend had never been Gay's goal. After learning that she wasn't invited to Robyn's house for Christmas, he spent the rest of the day sitting cross-legged on motel floor and watching his mother sob quietly. Years have passed since then. Gay had toughened since then, his voice low, his eyes ever searching, his backpack always full. He had been raised on a philosophy that emphasized obedience and forgiveness. All he believed in now, however, was correction. He had no intention of going to the wedding. He had nevertheless driven to Mauve, only to observe, merely to check if Cody would reveal his identity. When he did, Gabe remained hidden, his fingers around a chili case he had been carrying for weeks. He didn't want to physically harm his father. However, he wanted him to experience the same sense of insecurity that the others experienced. Exposed, helpless, Rihanna renounced Cody just before the casing was dumped from the balcony. An emblem, a caution, a mirror. Before the siren sounded, he departed. Meanwhile, a teenage reporter was going through papers that ought to have been sealed in the dusty file room of an investigative news station in Salt Lake City. The paper trail was enormous and damning. LLC registrations linked to shadow accounts in Nevada that were signed in Robyn's maiden name. TLC funds were transferred to personal accounts known as emergency family funds. Robyn's family P.O. boxes received purchase orders for upscale items, welfare petitions that were redacted and submitted only a few months after Kody openly displayed their financial independence. A whole empire based on scripture and smiles was crumbling under the weight of its own deception. Janelle was drinking weak coffee while sitting in a garden chair in front of her small house. Arthritis made her hands shake. "We were just trying to survive," she said to herself as she watched the morning sun slowly rise over the hills. Now remarried, Kristen stood on a Utah balcony in the light. She didn't flinch for the first time in years when her new spouse gave her a back embrace. Her future was no longer determined by the past, yet it still played her. Meri now led a calm life, not lonely, but alone. Like a crown, she took pride in her stillness. She remained silent after learning about the bullet case at Brianna's wedding. She simply lighted a candle and shut down her laptop. Kody Brown disappeared 3 weeks after the wedding event. He didn't leave a note. He had switched off his phone. In Arizona, his truck was discovered abandoned close to a riverbed. He appeared confused, like he didn't know who he was anymore, according to the gas station attendant who was the last to see him. Robyn declined to report someone missing. The children didn't even inquiry. Some thought he had passed away. Others believed he was hiding and would reappear when the cameras came back. But the truth was known by one person. In his pocket was another bullet casing. Indeed, there's more. To me, a specific episode in Sister Wives Past was unquestionably the turning point that made Robyn Brown a villain. Kody has long dreamed of having a big family with many of kids. In the early 1990s, Kody wed Meri, then Janelle, then Christine, creating a plural marriage. But after meeting Robyn, Kody's priorities changed. Tension arose among the original wives as he gave Robyn's wants more and more importance. The cohesiveness of the family broke down as a result of these interactions. Following his split from Meri, Janelle, and Christine, Kody is currently monogamous with Robyn. Robyn was originally seen to be one of Kody's most loyal and obedient spouses, a quality that initially won her the affection of many fans. Robyn really embraced the ideals of polygamy and came across as sympathetic and helpful on television. Robyn frequently took on shared parenting responsibilities and helped with the other spouse's children, giving the impression that she was a dedicated and helpful member of the multiple home. Robyn seemed to really enjoy being a part of Kody's huge family. But when the layers of paint came off and her genuine self showed, she was unable to maintain this image indefinitely. In the 2011 episode, a frightened Robyn finally tells the family about her new pregnancy. Kody was the one who said, "Truly won't be the small one anymore in 7.5 months. To his family, including the rest of his children, and most of them didn't react to the news with a smile. Kody's words made it look like he was pushing his youngest aside to make space for a new child with his new wife. He was replacing Truly and had no more room for her in his life. The older kids' reactions were totally understandable, and so was Janelle's. They had just moved and were still trying to settle in when suddenly there was news of another baby on the way. From Janelle's perspective, especially thinking in practical, legit-minded terms, it meant one more person to support with already limited resources. Maria and Leon's sour faces were the result of their expecting their mother to give them a new sibling. More importantly, Robyn did get villain status for choosing to tell Meri first about her pregnancy while knowing she struggled with fertility. It was Meri's dinner party at Meri's house, and there could have been more thought that went into how Robyn revealed she was pregnant. However, she proved she was so selfish and wanted sympathy for the way the children reacted to the news of her being pregnant. Meri and Kody were in a sexless marriage, with him telling her he didn't want any more kids, but here was Kody having babies with Robyn. It would have been best for Kody to not surprise his kids on camera with such sensitive news, but this incident became a turning point for Robyn's reputation. Viewers gradually began to see a different side of Robyn over the years, one that was very different from the image she presented on screen. Interestingly, Robyn rarely pushed Kody to interact with his other wives, which raised concerns about her role in the family's increasing estrangement. Robyn gradually seemed to take on the role of the family's matriarch, as if she saw herself as superior to the others, and her influence over Kody's decisions grew significantly, giving her a degree of authority and emotional connection that the others did not seem to share. Improving her public image will be a challenge for Robyn. Robyn's emotional displays during minor disagreements have struck many viewers as insincere, leading fans to dub her Sobin in response to what they perceive as exaggerated or manipulative crying. Had Robyn supported Kody in nurturing his relationships with Meri, Janelle, and Christine, she might have earned admiration. Instead, many feel she prioritized herself, damaging her reputation. To rebuild likability, Robyn may need to show more authenticity and less strategy in how she presents herself to both the family and Sister Wives viewers. Sister Wives star Meri Brown has changed so much since leaving her polygamist husband, Kody Brown, and she recently showed off her incredible red carpet look. Meri, 53, was Kody's first wife. She grew up in a polygamous community, so the lifestyle felt natural for her. Soon after their 1990 wedding, Kody married Janelle Brown in 1993, Christine Brown in 1994, and Robyn Brown in 2010. By the time the Browns finished growing their family, Kody had 4 wives and 18 children. Meri may have been Kody's first wife, but she was never his favorite wife. When the unscripted series premiered in 2010, the Browns were one big happy family living under one roof. They all lived in a multi-unit apartment where each wife had her own wing and Kody would stay with a different family each night. By the time Sister Wives Season 19 started airing in late 2024, 3 of Kody's 4 wives had walked away from the plural family. Meri was the third of his wives to walk away, following Christine and Janelle out the door in 2022. Since leaving Kody, Meri got a makeover and even posted the photos to Instagram. Meri chose to live in a plural marriage for religious reasons. She and Kody, who have 1 child, struggled to make their marriage work from day one. Kody had been open about not being attracted to Meri, and the two had stopped living as husband and wife many years ago. Sister Wives Season 1 featured Kody courting and marrying Robyn in 2010. She was the first wife to be added to the family in 16 years. Though the complex plural family had their fair share of problems, Kody's marriage to Robyn was what triggered their dissolution. Kody's other wives felt that Kody openly favored Robyn. They accused him of spending more time with her and her children than with theirs. Of all his wives, Kody neglected Meri the most. Despite that, she never faltered in her support of him. Deeply committed to the religious principle of plural marriage, she was even the one who introduced Kody to Robyn and encouraged him to court her. Meri was the only one to welcome Robyn warmly and continued to be close to her. Even after Kody told her they'd never have a real marriage, she tried to make it work. Though there are likely multiple reasons why Kody and Meri couldn't make their marriage work, the biggest factor is likely that Kody was never in love with Meri. At least not in the way a husband should love a wife. Plural marriage must be hard work, and it's likely even harder if the couple doesn't start deeply in love. Kody and Meri started their lives together more committed to the idea of plural marriage than to their specific marriage to each other. Kody's neglect of Meri made matters worse, and the contempt grew over the years. During the final few years of their marriage, Kody often said cruel things about Meri. At one point, he confessed he was no longer attracted to her and said he couldn't be in a real marriage. During Sister Wives Season 19, Kody was brutally honest about his marriage to Meri. During an interview, he said he knew, right after their wedding, that they could never be happy together. Neither Kody nor Meri believed in divorce, and Kody felt that he had a duty to stay with the woman he married. So they decided to take on additional wives instead. Kody was essentially saying he was driven to polygamy by his unhappy marriage to Meri. The Sister Wives patriarch said when he married Janelle, he hoped to dilute the unhappiness in his and Meri's marriage, but their drama spilled over into his marriage to Janelle. The situation didn't improve with the addition of his third wife, Christine. By the time he married his fourth wife, Robyn, Kody's relationship with Meri was long over. This confession by Kody must have been painful for Meri to hear. Meri has thrived since leaving Kody. The Sister Wives Season 19 star has embraced her network of friends, adopted a dog, and got herself an incredible makeover. Meri recently posted photos of her new look on Instagram. The photos are of Meri wearing a little black dress, a chic new choppy bob haircut, and looking glamorous on the red carpet. "It was a pleasure and honor to spend the past 2 days at the Global Beauty Awards," reads Meri's caption, but her facial expression reads, "Eat your heart out, Kody." After divorcing Kody, Meri realized she didn't want to be alone anymore. Years of neglect made Meri yearn for true love. Seeing how fellow Sister Wives star Christine met and married David Woolley soon after leaving Kody, Meri started her search for a new man. Meri dated a man named Amos for a few months in 2024, but that didn't work out. Since then, Meri has confessed that she's been dating around, but hasn't met the right man yet. Until the right man comes along, Meri has her friends and her beloved dog, Zona, to keep her company. Meri Brown wanted the family, she didn't just want the man. However, in the end, the Sister Wives star believed she had neither. "I had that cute little playground," Meri, the mother of 29-year-old Leon Brown, said in the April 20 episode of the TLC series when she first moved to Flagstaff, Arizona, with her then-husband Cody Brown and his 3 other wives. The mother of 5, including Solomon, 13, and Ariella, 9, mentioned taking her youngest to Meri's house to play. At the time, she was still spiritually married to Cody and was close to his 4th wife, Robyn Brown. "I was really looking forward to it," said Meri, and that happened very rarely before COVID even hit. Meri emphasized, "I had plenty of outdoor space and I took all the precautions." Despite this, she was on the outs with Cody and Robyn's quarantine squad. Even after remaining at home and maintaining a 6-foot distance from them became the standard. But for Robyn, it was just survival mode during that time. On the April 20 episode, she said, "I had 5 kids at home all the time when we were doing online school." Additionally, she began to travel after the first year or so. "As a result, we had a lot of trouble organizing our schedules. However, I am aware that we both wished we could have spent more time together." Meri simply had a more if they wanted to they would mentality. Meri said, "I had this bond with her," referring to her close relationship with Robyn, which began as soon as the divorced couple joined the family in 2010. "Now I'm wondering, why tell me that you want to have a relationship with me and then ghost me for months and months and months? Why can't I visit your home and see your children when COVID is in effect and I'm abiding by all the rules? What's stopping you from coming over to my place so the kids can play in the yard?" Or, to put it plainly, she would pretend to be your best friend and then totally ignore you and hurt your feelings, as Meri's best friend Jen Sullivan put it. I mean, that's f***ed up. To hear Robyn tell it, however, she truly went out of her way to keep up a friendship with her sister wife. "Either be in a hole or don't. I always had Meri's back, even when people were plotting against her, ignoring her," Robyn said, "and I never felt a divide other than when she moved. That was when things changed. She changed it after that." Because Robyn insisted, Meri left his only surviving wife in the rearview mirror when she formally broke her 3-decade union with Cody and moved 300 miles to Utah. Soon after Meri moved, "I reached out to her and I said, 'The next time you're in town, let's hang out, let's go do something,'" Robyn recalled. And she very directly said, "I don't know how to be friends with my ex-husband's wife, and that was really hard for me." This is not to imply that Meri was unwilling to work hard. "At that point, I did not know how to be a friend with my ex-husband's wife," she said, "and I think that there are a lot of conversations that we would have to have before we did that. Additionally, those conversations were likely to be quite awkward. I'm not convinced that she would be fully honest with me," said Meri, "and I'm not convinced that the things I would say to her, she would be very happy with." Although Meri admitted that things with Cody and Robyn are awkward, she isn't against going through some growing pains. "Part of me does kind of grieve the relationship that we had because she was a good friend, or at least I thought she was," Meri stated. "And so part of me grieves the part that I thought that we were really close. But then other stuff, through the years since then makes me just like, but were we though? Cause if we were, we should have been able to stick it out. She's still keeping that door just a crack open. I'm not saying that there couldn't be trust built," Meri replied. "It would have to take a lot of hard conversations. There may also be some apologizing. I heard that she was bashing me and making fun of me to her friends in public, and I was very hurt by this," said Robyn. "I don't think she wants a relationship, so I don't know. I guess I just have to deal with that." But Meri doesn't believe their connection has been shattered. "I get that she probably feels a lot of grief and pain about this demise of our relationship," she said. "I feel that too. There is a lot of anger and pain and grief involved in it. If we could get to a place where we can just interact without it being weird, that would be awesome," Meri added, referring to their shared past spanning years. "That's what I hope for." Meri has also revealed other things this season besides the truth regarding her disagreement with Robyn. See the family's candid perspectives on anything from jealousy to their joint finances by continuing to read. Shortly after their 1990 vows, Cody Brown declared he was prepared to separate from his first wife, Meri Brown. However, Meri said in the September 15 premiere that he led me to believe that he would work on things by saying, "Oh, Meri, when we move to Flagstaff, this will be a good time to have a new beginning for us," alluding to their 2018 relocation. Like he led me to believe those things. This is what he's done for many, many years. Her primary complaint, she stated, is his lack of communication and how he really felt and what he really wanted or what he really didn't want in the story that he's been telling for all these years. Also, Kody admitted that there might have been mixed messages, but only because, he added, "I'm like, why would I do this? When he began to work on things, I would not court and date her now." In any case, when Meri finally pulled the plug in early 2023, her pals were ecstatic. They're like, "Okay, we're here for you, we're supporting you, and it's about damn time," she admitted. "Because if he can push me out and I leave, he's not the bad guy because he didn't walk away," she says, implying that he had been trying to get her to leave him for years by claiming he didn't love her. In the season premiere, Kody said that he was prepared to let the idea die years after the family had bought the 14-acre plot of land in Flagstaff, Arizona, on which they intended to build. Unable to construct without paying the entire $820,000 price tag, which the family allegedly did in 2023, he said to Robyn Brown, his surviving wife, "I'd almost rather scrap it or sell it and then just start again somewhere else. I can't talk about that," she said in reference to Robyn. "That is so not where I'm at." Danielle Brown, the second wife, had previously informed E! News, "We just kind of started to grow apart, and in the end, she left because of Kody's shortcomings as a parent to several of their children." The mom told Logan Brown, Madison Brown Brush, Hunter Brown, Garrison Brown, Gabrielle Brown, and Savannah Brown, "The big spark for me was when his relationship broke down with my children and he didn't seem like he would move heaven and earth to fix it. And I thought, okay, that was what was really holding me here." Janelle refused to entertain the possibility of reconciliation, even when Kody brought it up in the November 3 episode. "I don't know how I would ever reconcile with him and have him not have a relationship with my kids," she stated. "No, I'm going to always choose my kids." Let us know in your comments, and stay tuned by subscribing our channel to get more updates like this. Thanks, everyone.